Hi, hello. How are you today? It's definitely a good day to have another podcast. And guys, this has been a conversation across the country, across different institutions. And today, right here, we're bringing it to our podcast. It's the conversation around leadership. And yes, I know leadership is very wide. And so today we're going to be talking about responsible leadership. Because I think one thing we can all agree is that leadership is the cornerstone of any nation. Leadership is the cornerstone of every institution. And so I want us to delve right into it. And today we'll be looking at leadership from an angle of leading others. We've definitely done leadership in terms of self-leadership. So today we're looking at leadership from an angle of leading others. And with me in the studio, I have guests who have evidence of having done this. With me right here is the former president of Strathmore University, Ted, and I also have a student leader right here at Strathmore University, Michael. So I want you to welcome you to this journey. We'll really just be talking about youth leadership as it is, on a level of self, on a level of leading others. And then probably we'll look at national leadership and governance and politics. Who knows? So welcome to the podcast. And I want to invite my guests to just say hello as they introduce themselves. I'm happy to start with you, Michael.
So hello, everyone. My name is Michael Otieno. I'm the 16th male sports representative in the Strathmore University Student Council. And I'm looking forward to having an awesome time with you guys.
Thank you so much, Michael. Ted, over to you.
Hey everyone, my name is Ted Iha, 14th Student Council President Emeritus, currently CEO of Best Value Solutions Limited, a consulting company, and an enthusiastic leader who likes to see change.
Thank you so much for that, Ted. You talked about best value solution. And so I really want to start with you. How would you define responsible leadership?
I think responsible leadership deals with the idea of owning up the mistakes that you have, and secondly, being able to guide others into a safer pathway so that they can enhance their own talents. That's what responsible leadership means for me.
All right. Michael?
So to me, responsible leadership is leading with accountability, integrity, and a long-term vision that not only serves your interest or rather your group's interest, but a whole community.
Okay. All right. Now, you touched on something. You talked about integrity. And I want us to be very realistic and draw examples from the society that we're living in right now. The truth is, a lot of people, say for example, you're on the road and something unfortunate happens, people will pass you by. Why? We don't have that aspect of personal responsibility and leadership when it comes to us as a community. So I really just want to throw this question at you. Do you think that integrity can be taught, or is it inherent?
So according to me, integrity can both be taught and inherent. So in as much as we have some who are naturally integral, I normally believe that real integrity is that integrity that one develops through the life experience, mentorship. So integrity can both be taught and it's inherent also.
Okay. Ted, what's your take on that?
I think integrity is something that's taught and it develops as a result of a culture. The people who are taught how to take care of themselves and ideally do the right thing even when no one is watching do have the innate nature of at least having integrity as a first principle that they have. So for me, I feel like integrity is built based on where you live, the culture of the people, and most importantly, how you value your own honesty.
Okay. Very key words coming out of this conversation. I've had the aspect of culture. I've had the aspect of values. I've had the aspect of the environment in which you come in. And so I want us to now, you really just drive it into the young people and talk about integrity when it comes to young people. And probably, having known your track record as leaders, what would you say has shaped your leadership journey? Probably, what are those experiences? What is that culture? What's that environment? Or what are those values that you uphold that have shaped your leadership journey?
Okay, now, personally, apart from being a leader, I'm also a sports person. So I believe my sports life has more shaped who I am in terms of leadership and everything now. In sports, I've learned teamwork, I've learned about communication. And actually, those are the main things that have made me become a leader who I am. Because without proper communication, then there is no clarity between you and those who you are leading. So that has made it very easy for me to lead guys. and also the teamwork. You need to work with different guys for you to now achieve the end goal, which is a better environment for everyone. So to me, I think teamwork and communication, which I've learned through my sporting career, has always done it all for me.
All right. Now, Ted, the aspect of competition in leadership, we're just not talking about self-leadership here, but, just being in that environment where you're not the only leader in place. Mm-hmm. You need to prove yourself that you are the best option available.
Yeah.
So just take us through that leadership journey, and probably allow me to just take you back to your first year. At Strathmore. Share with us, was it ever a goal? Is it something that you had a vision to be a leader? Did you stumble upon it? Is it a strategy that you laid in place? And really just take us through that journey of what you upheld until you got into that position. And even now as you work as CEO, just that experience of being able to lead, that continued experience.
Okay. So fun fact, when I was in first year, I tell the story several times. I used to be the typical first year eating smocha and, Siwaka donuts and playing FIFA in the basement of Siwaka complex. That's what I used to do. But I got into leadership because throughout my life, I've actually been a leader, even if it was in high school and, those things, prefect duties and things like those. But I think what drove me is the experiences. For me, I think my leadership has been characterized by challenges. And just a brief background, from the time I was born to now, I was born with sickle cell. So because I used to know what pain is and how pain felt like, I never wanted to see anyone else in pain. So it has always been my pursuit to ensure that people have better quality of life as a leader. But what most people also don't know is that I lost the election the first time I ran. So the year was 2021, and it was such an interesting year. We had just come back from COVID, and I remember everyone was pursuing, student leadership. My journey started when I was campaigning for guys. So I campaigned for quite a number of individuals in the 12th Council, and then they gave me the platform. I remember turning around a lot of leaders and allowing them to win. So that was me using my communications background to create campaigns for guys. Then when I tried running, I was unable to do it to the success to the level of which I wanted to pursue it. But the second time of asking, I guaranteed myself a victory. I ensured that I do each and every possible thing to ensure that I'm the best candidate. And I think my leadership has been characterized by tenacity. So there'll always be challenges. You'll always be told no. You'll always be told this is not something that we value at this moment. So for me, my leadership was characterized by the challenges, and that's what made me who I am. So it became a goal of mine to get the highest possible office because I thought that's where I could create the biggest impact. But even before that, I did quite a number of things. We revitalized the Red Cross Club in Strathmore University, and the St. John Ambulance was also brought officially to Strathmore University. This was right before I even became president. And my career as a debater also meant that now I had the ability to articulate myself in a more coherent and comprehensive manner.
Amazing. I think, just picking up on that aspect, that leadership journey, the consistency of it, and I'll be speaking to that shortly. But the question I would also want to ask to you, Michael, is, we're talking about responsible leadership. Now, as we all know, I think it's been well articulated that leadership is not a straightforward journey. Have you had an experience where outrightly you can tell this is wrong and you've had to stand your ground and say, no, whether in or out of school, I shall not engage with that because of X, Y, Z reasons? Have you had such an encounter?
Yeah, I have had such an experience. And one that I could clearly remember is when I just joined the school. Emeritus here was the president then. I joined the handball team because I'm a passionate sports advocate. So after joining the team, I entered the place and I try to see how things go. I try to check on the culture, and I found a culture there that those who we call them freshers, they're normally known as freshers, should always do everything for the big boys, including even picking their kids after training and everything. And I had to stand firm and actually fight for their rights, because it's very responsible for an elder person to live for a younger person his training kits that are not that tidy to always look for him. So personally, I felt like that was very wrong, and I stood to it. And after a while, I think each and every person in the team looked on it on a very rational basis, and they actually came to agree with me. And since then, I think the culture changed, and everyone is always responsible for their training items. Yeah.
Okay. And thank you so much for sharing that story, because it gets our conversation to the next level. You've talked about that, seeing something is not right and saying, you know what, guys, this is not okay. Mobilizing people to actually share the vision that you had and eradicating that practice. Because one of the key things that we are seeing, and I want us now to just speak to the larger, well, yes, there is the school community, but also our overall community and the society in which we live. Because one of the key things we are seeing, and thankfully, after July last year, we've seen more integration of young people when it comes to general leadership in our society. But it's not exactly a true case of what's happening. And so we're seeing a situation where young people are very disconnected from leadership. And when I talk about leadership, just allow me to also add the aspect of governance, because you can have governance at an institutional level, but you can also have governance at a national level. So many young people today are very disconnected when it comes to leadership and governance in the country, on the continent. But let's stay specifically within our borders, our East African borders. And so the question I would ask, you can answer this in the best way, but what's your take on that? What's your experience with that? And what do you feel young people can do or should do when it comes to just more engagement in leadership and governance?
I think one of the things young people can actually do is participate in these activities that ideally are leadership opportunities. I think this thing where people fear things, assume it's not for them, is why ideally you find that we keep having the same cycle of poor governance and poor leadership. I think the youth and everyone in general needs to actively take a keen interest in pursuing leadership positions, because we know what it's like to, have challenges as a result of a bad government or something of that sort, or poor governing systems. We've had hands-on experience with some of the challenges that ideally everyone else has seen. But I think now young people need to stop being scared. We need now to start publicly participating in these endeavors, whether it means we run for the offices, whether it means we take up those mantles and let's say directors in our organizations. I think just pushing ourselves to be better than where we were last time is the one thing young people need to do. And I think we need to eradicate the fear of, this is not my position, it's not meant for me, someone else already has it guaranteed. I think young people have an ability to shape the country and change it in its entirety, being the largest majority of this country. We need to now take up our mantle as the leaders and get into these spaces.
Okay, now for me, I feel like in as much as we should take this space, then I think the existing government also has to do something to ensure that these young people are more into politics. So according to me, I feel like we should be included. We should feel that the decisions we do have that directly affect us are heard and are put into actions. And apart from that, I also feel like the existing government should also practice the transparency, so that each and every young person who is aspiring to make the change can see maybe the value of perhaps transparency, and perhaps it will also give them that, it will also guide them and to show them the right way to do things whenever they get that chance to be in leadership. And just lastly, to add on that, I feel like we should use the social media positively to always train our young leaders on what to do, because we're growing. We need guidance from those who have perhaps experienced this before us. So if we can make good use of these social media platforms and try train these young leaders the best things to do, then I think we'll have a great country, because they are our leaders of tomorrow. Yeah.
That's very true. And so we've talked about the opportunities being created. But, I'm sure we've all had this if there's no chair for you at the table,
Get your own table.
wow, okay, good. I was about to say pull your own chair. But yes, you know what? Again, you can go ahead and create your own table. And one of the key things that has been highlighted in this conversation is fear. And I think genuinely, even for me, just being a community leader, I think that is one thing we really struggle with. And so we're trying to see, there is a young person somewhere saying, I really want to get into that space. You know, it starts as simple as, I want to be a leader in my school, in my institution. I think that's where it all starts. You know, Ted was able to highlight, you know, it's a journey that started all the way in high school and then in campus. And right now with his own organization, the leadership continues. And yeah, it continues to progress as you move forward. So the both of you just having been in that space, probably having been in that corner where you've experienced that fear of what it's like to start, what's that piece of advice that you'd give, you know, in terms of even just overcoming that fear? What's, you know, that young student listening to us right now and they're like, I really want to vie for class prefect, but XYZ reasons are just holding me back. Just talk to us. What can we do? Or that individual who's like, I want to join a political party, but there is no seat on the table for me. What would you tell them?
Okay, personally, I'd love to advise each and every young person who has passion and perhaps a good intention for leadership to join. They shouldn't fear. And I just want to let them know that they should be the change they want to see. They should lead from the front and they should show others what they want to see. So I just advise them to come strong and never fear anything. So personally, I vied for the sports representative position when I was a second year and my competitor was a third year. So if fear go against me, like come against me, then definitely I would have not vied because many guys tried to discourage me. But because I was very, very focused, I knew what I wanted and I knew the change I wanted to make. I'm definitely as the sports representative. And I'd just love to encourage each and every young person to join this leadership space. Be that change you want to see, lead from the front.
And allow me to just speak into that. What was your strategy? Because I'm imagining you've talked about people who are against you vying, and here you are vying against a senior who I assume was also more popular than you. So what were some of the key strategies that you feel helped you to be able to achieve your goal, besides just having the determination and the will?
Okay, I just think I really, at this point, I just want once more to thank Stratisans. These Stratisans are amazing. They are more of looking into ideas other than any other thing that perhaps other guys would have checked in. So they really accepted me and they really listened to me. And what I created was I just tried to make them see the change, try to make them know that I really understand, because I could explain to them each and everything that they wanted to know about our sports environment. Something that I think my competitor never, in as much as he was more popular. I tried to make Stratisans see that I know what I want and I know where the problem really is. So I made them feel like I am the only person who is going to make that change. Yeah.
Okay. I feel like it also takes a lot of courage to be a leader. It takes a lot of courage. Eh?
Sure.
Should you be ready to rub some shoulders?
I think, let me just say this. In everything you do, you'll never get 100% approval. Whether it's applying for your job, whether it's going for leadership. The thing that ideally I would tell anyone who's listening to these podcasts in future is, at the point where you feel like you want to call it quits, that's the point where you should actually drive yourself harder. Because the point where you feel like you're not working out, it's not working out for me, it's not happening for me, that's when you need to double down. So one, embrace pressure. Pressure is cool because it will create diamonds. Secondly, ensure that in everything you do, you enjoy it and you love it. I think people fall out of love with the idea of leadership because they stopped liking their role as a leader. They felt like there were challenges. And the last thing is, the losses are more important than the victory. Because when you lose, you learn. When you win, you have nothing else to, give you the momentum. I think learning from losses is one of the best things that I would advise anyone. So it doesn't matter whether it takes twice, 2 takes, 3 takes, 4 takes, it doesn't matter. With each and every passing attempt, you're a different person. And I think for leaders and aspiring leaders, we need to recognize that the challenge that is ahead of us means that we need to be better than who we are. So whatever you're doing, you need to improve on yourself and always keep working on yourself. You lose. I lost terribly. I was like the third person in that campaign the time I lost the election. And my two the two competitors who were first and second had already not been eligible to run again because they were in the final years. So the consolation I used to give guys, and I used to tell guys, I mean, if you remove those two, it means I'm your automatic president because they're no longer in the race. They're done with their time. So it means actually right now, I am ahead of the pack. I'm the most popular presidential candidate even before the election starts. But it's also because there was no one else who was running. So it was such a funny thing. Embrace the losses because those losses are the ones that give you a true reflection of who you are. The victories give you the happiness. The losses give you the lessons.
Okay. I really like that. And now I want to add a twist to this. So you guys have heard, this whole thing of the younger generation going on. And so I'm just curious. There's this narrative that young people lack patience, discipline, and the experience to lead. I'll leave it at that. Do you agree? Do you disagree? And why? I'll repeat that. Young people lack the patience, discipline, and the experience to lead.
Okay, according to me, I feel it's not true because leadership is always a personal thing. Like it's not something that we do judge people collectively. So Henry Kissinger once said that a good leader has some qualities, and one of them was passion, the political acumen, and the energy to lead. So if this young person has all these three energies, all these three qualities, then why is he not supposed to lead? So it's not a matter of age, it's a matter of what impact you can make. You see, there's no reason of us having a hold, perhaps an uncountable, and someone who doesn't practice integrity in position. Yet we can have a young person who can practice the responsible leadership. So according to me, it's not more of age, it's more of an individual thing. And to our young men, never be discouraged. And one of our MPs around, the MP I think of this constituency, says that if the book has refused to enter the head, then it has to enter exam room. So I'd advise our young men and ladies to join this space. Let's not be discriminated because of age.
Okay.
If the book does not enter the head, it will enter the exam room. That's fire. All right. I think the reason why people feel, because I don't think we are impatient. I think we just like results. Because previously generations were taught to have delayed gratification. But now, in the pursuit of delayed gratification, you realize that it's also delayed quite a bit. I think it's not that we don't have the patience. I think it's just that we want the result and we want tangible facts. So if you tell me you're building a road in 6 months, I need the 6 months. I'll count every single day. Why? Because we think our generation is one that has grown up with a lot of knowledge. Secondly, we've been exposed to a lot of information. So that's why sometimes you may come off as impatient. It's because sometimes you find like we know that there's an alternative solution that could possibly work. And that's a thing that ideally ruffles a lot of feathers. But I think we do have the experience to lead. The problem is society just doesn't trust any new generation. And it's always going to be a narrative. Because even if we ask our parents, they'll say that their parents said that they were not doing things of importance. If you ask my parents, they'll tell you that, maybe the things and the approaches we're taking are also not of importance. Then if you ask my kids, generations that are coming up, if you ask them, they'll tell you, my dad also still thinks that the things we are doing right now are not important. I think change is the reason why we are characterized as impatient, because unlike the previous guys, we are different. We are cut from a different cloth as, the young generation. We are the generation that has grown up with everything ready-made, the instant generation. So we don't like time wasting. If we can achieve the solution as soon as possible, let's do it. And in terms of experience, I think we have a wealth of experience. And we have a plethora of good leaders that are out there just waiting to get the opportunity. So we do have the experience.
I agree. And you talked about we have leaders out there waiting to get the opportunity. But as it is, no one is giving that opportunity. So what will be your advice? Because I think even in our conversations, not only in this space of this podcast, but even as the community service department, as we continue to go out there and engage with other different young people, you realize we have leaders. We have leaders. This country has leaders. This country has virtuous people. This country has people who uphold integrity. But the systems just don't allow us. So probably, I don't know how to put this, but I don't know whether to put it. What would be your advice to those in leadership and governance? Or really, what do you think should be done so that these systems just work? Let me put it like that. What, in your view, what should be done for systems to work?
I think each and every leader must just ask himself two simple questions. Why he or she was elected in that position. I believe for him to be elected there, those who elected him there believed in all he sold to them and believed that he will bring the change. So if he's there and he's not bringing the change that his constituents perhaps elected him to do, then he shouldn't be in that space. And then another thing is he should ask himself if whatever he's doing is serving perhaps the best interest of his constituents. If it's not, then I think he's not doing it. I think he should just leave the office as soon as possible. Yeah. So all I know is that all I know is that in this life, a good leader, in leadership, I mean, it's always said that you're always wise or otherwise. And if you want to check perhaps your wisdom, you should serve your people. So if you're really not doing what they chose you to do, then you are otherwise. Sorry.
Okay, Ted?
For me, I think we just need to push against the guys who are holding us back. I think we need to make them realize that we are here and we want our results now. My advice to those guys is let's push through. If you're told by your political party that you wanted to join, or we cannot give you the nomination ticket, cool, run as an independent. Or, join another alternative. I think that's the best way to say it, that we need to now create the opportunities for ourselves. You create value through the things you do for yourself. You don't wait for someone else to attribute the value they think you deserve. And I think, especially with our generation or with the guys who are in the leadership and in the opportunity, we have to fight. Fight not necessarily physical, but like fight for our spaces. Prove that we are justified in everything we are saying. And the moment we create space for ourselves, then now we can govern ourselves better. So my advice is let's push through and see what happens.
I love that. I can't add to that. So as we come to a close, we have a section we call the encyclopedia because it's about peer-to-peer learning. So you can share with us, it could be a book, a YouTube channel, or a podcast where young people can be able to go and just get more insights when it comes to the question of leadership.
So to me, I normally love this book. It's always taught me a lot of things. It's written Simon Sinek. And it goes by the title, Leaders Eats Last. And it also goes with one of my quotes that I normally perhaps refer to, that he who wants to be the greatest must first be a servant. So it teaches me about servant leadership and, accountable leadership.
All right. That's a powerful book. I think I want to promote a book that is so dear to me. It's written by my dad. The title is This Life is Personal. And you can access it through Noria bookstore. They deliver it everywhere in East Africa. I think it's a personal project because ideally we are using the proceeds of that book to set up a foundation to support children who are suffering from sickle cell anemia, like myself. So it would be a great book for those of you guys who want to read. It talks about marriage, family life, retirement, and leadership and businesses. That's what ideally we are looking at. So if you are interested in a good read, This Life is Personal is a good read for you. And it cuts across all ages. It teaches you how to plan for your retirement early and also teaches you the value of family and that your background does not does not guarantee your future. So no matter how far you are in life, don't worry, you can get farther. So ideally that's encouragement. And I think that book is personal. This Life is Personal is an extremely eye-opening book. I'm not saying it just because it's my father's, but I mean in terms of his experience and the world of experience, it would be a good opportunity for guys.
What's the name of the author?
Joseph Iha.
Joseph?
Iha.
Joseph Iha.
And Elizabeth Tucker. So my mom and dad co-wrote the book.
Okay. All right.
So for those of you who think you cannot find true love in campus, my parents are products of a campus relationship that went on and soared later in life. And well, I'm here and they're still together. So at least that did work out. So don't worry. Even if things don't work out for you and your person, there's always a chance. But it also don't be discouraged. Maybe you may find someone here that is able to match your energy and you succeed in life. You can't just finish with a bachelor's degree. You must interact with other guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ted. Thank you so much, Michael. And honestly, Ted has really touched an aspect which is very true, that even when it comes to leadership, it's about the holistic aspect of it, because you need to make sure all the sectors of your life are balanced for you to be an effective and an efficient and a responsible leader, right? Right. Okay. Thank you so much. That has been our session today. Just really getting into the depth of the conversations about, understanding where we are as an institution, understanding where we are in our families, understanding where we are as a nation, and understanding where we want to take the world. So, you had it here. They said you either choose to be wise or otherwise. As usual, thank you so much for joining. And this has been your cheat code through life.